I always forget I gotta go in the Queen City group and let them know we are live. Okay. Posted. Everybody should know we are live. First, we always go over our sponsor, Ian Huss, local mortgage guy. Feel free to reach out to him if you have any mortgage needs. Good guy, friend of mine, friend of the show. Couldn't recommend him enough. And then we'll start with our first guest, Mr. Ryan Collins. Wins the Mojo, one of the bigger tournaments you'll play. That's not a world. Or is it technically? Is it a spring world technically? I don't know.
I guess they kind of base it as a spring world.
Yep. So how many teams total? I think you said it was 96.
Yep, 96 total.
96 over 4 days. You guys started Thursday at what time?
We started Thursday. Our first one was 6:30 p.m. and that was there was a playing game to play us.
Okay. What were some of your toughest games?
It was we didn't have we only had one game where it was like easier, but it was hard to prepare for anything because we only played technically one Ohio team throughout it. But honestly, we got rolling early, so keeping the same lineup, pretty much the same throughout, we were able to hit it. But the Michigan team that we played, Murder Mitten, they came out hot early. And then the Toro team out of Massachusetts, they came down on a 12-hour car ride, and they were just solid top to bottom. When I talked to their coach / pitcher, they had played majority C going up into that tournament. So they were definitely a tougher game. We didn't get fresh legs out of Nova. I know they were like 14 or 15 games in, but you could definitely tell that they were a good team as well.
Yeah, it looks like most of your wins. So this one was by 8. The finals was by 10. The was it the quarterfinals? You won by 10.
Yeah.
Were any of these games close? 23-8, Murder Mittens.
Yeah.
21-9 with the Bullet Club. 29-6. And then oh no, I'm looking at the wrong side. 25-16. And then 26-10. So I think your closest game was only what, 8 runs?
8 runs. Yep.
Yeah. Well, guys kind of ran through that. Congrats. All right, let's see. Who really stood out on your team?
MVP I gave to Hunter Dribble. I worked well, not so much but we worked with him and Ryan Rickey in the off season with pitch selection. It was really bad between those two. And I told them, I said, hey, if you guys hit strikes, you guys are hitting it on the line, and we're using a lot less home runs. Hunter started taking pitches, swinging at strikes. He ended up OBP around 800. Kyle Aldecker, my hitter, he hit 766. Omar, he showed up Saturday going into Sunday. He hit 700. Ryan Rickey hit 700. JT hit 733. Austin Penwell hit 700. And Joel Erdman hit 650, but he brought crazy energy the entire time.
650 ain't bad.
Yeah. I think we had a team average of like 685 on the weekend.
They'll win you a lot of games.
Oh, yeah.
What did you win?
I think it came out to be almost 5,000, and then we won rings. I think there was 8 bats that we handed out amongst the team. and shirts, and then paid world berth.
Nice. Did you guys have any kind of lucky breaks during the tournament?
Yeah, actually, in that Toro game, they went up on us, and then when we were chasing, we scored 6 in an inning, and then me being an idiot before hitter was up, I told AJ Albanese he would pinch ran, and I told him to run when we had just tied the game with the hitter coming up, and then I whoa him halfway through. He was safe, but he got called out, and it was just awful timing by me. They came out, scored some more, but luckily we came in and had our huge inning, and then won that one.
So if I understand, you already used your runner, and this was the second time you were using your runner?
No. I just sent AJ on a play that wasn't even close, and he got thrown out as the third out coming home. So it was just bad coaching.
Bad coaching. Okay. All right. So now, what do you guys got coming up next?
We have the U-Trip Slugfest, and then we'll have the Weekender for One Nation.
That's 2 pretty big tournaments.
Yeah.
All right, Rhino, your turn.
So congratulations to you and all your guys. That 96 team tournament, don't matter what level you're playing in, you win something like that, that's a huge deal. I saw you picked up my buddy Matt Miller. How'd he play over the weekend?
Crushed it. Matt hit around 640, but he got off to a slow start, was hitting everything up or home runs for outs. But, I mean, words can't describe how big he was with being vocal with this group, with the younger core guys. Just everything he says in the huddle just uplifts you. And I mean, he just never lets you get down, and it's just positive the entire time.
Yeah, he's an intense guy. He's never going to let you quit. So he's a good guy to have around.
Yeah, him and Johnny Leap together. And that's another thing I did want to say. Cowboy pitched for us Thursday and Friday, and he was huge. Showed up, threw strikes, did his job on the mound. I think he hit 600 as well. He looked at me and said, "Hey, it's Leap's way the rest of the way out." So, I mean, he didn't expect. He was there as a teammate the entire weekend. So it was awesome to have him as well.
Can we get my man a uniform next time?
Hey, I tried to get him a uniform, but I only had a large left, and I didn't want to do that to him.
Gotcha. Isn't Matt Miller over 50 now?
Yep. Well, sorry, I called him 51 last video, and he corrected me and said, "Make sure you only tell him I'm 50." Okay. So,
well, I mean, he's been doing it for a long time. All right, Ryan, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good, man. So you're getting a lot of backlash about winning the D because they're saying you're a U-Trip C team, and people are hating pretty hard. What's your response to something like that?
I mean, I'm not going to say you can sandbag in One Nation. I'm going to say the competition is it is tougher. It's more of a world environment, just because so many teams. I mean, Z-Fly can attest. I mean, I think there was 30 some C teams there, but I mean, just the environment. Like I said, we only ran into one Ohio team, but the past 2 years we've tried. Mojo and everything, we had a 1-6 record in the D going into it. And I took last year's team that went 1-5 in One Nation and pretty much brought back the same group, plus or minus 2 guys. But I mean, they're letting us play it, and I'd be goofy not to spend my money there. So, I mean,
I always thought it was interesting. Yeah, no, I think you guys are a D team. I mean, it is what it is. I always thought it was. Do you think it's more of an advantage not playing a team you know, or a disadvantage?
I don't know. Just the way they play is so much different. I almost enjoy it. I feel like the guys thrive on it more, not knowing who they're playing. So it's kind of nice. I didn't see one team this weekend that I've ever played either, which was huge, and I was there from Thursday to Sunday.
I always liked playing teams that didn't know my team because there's no reason to give anybody extra motivation. There's some teams that get fired up to play you, and if you're playing an out-of-town team, they're not going to be. They look, oh, okay, this is legacy. Where if you're playing Odd Sox, they're thinking, okay, now this is legacy. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. So
Z, what's your take on that?
I like playing teams I know, because I feel like I can, manage the defense, manage who the person is. Are they somebody who, do they thrive under pressure? Do they not? So I feel like I can manage the game a little bit better, but that might be just my own ego getting in the way. I don't know, but that's my thought on it. Chase.
Now, Collins, did you guys run into any Amish teams up there?
We did not run into any Amish. They were a game away from playing us Buckeye Elite, and boy, they looked extremely young. I mean, I'm talking 16, 17 years old. So,
how was the bat testing up there? Were there many bats that failed, or was everything going through?
We had 2 fail. We had a Daw and something else, a Easton fail. But for the majority part, I mean, a lot of stuff passed. So, but like I said, that home run rule definitely comes into effect for outs. IEOs would have probably killed us.
What do you think of that new ball?
Way better than the China ball that they had to offer. I just spent a fortune on getting Vietnams, and then they came out with those as Mojo was about to happen. So it was a night and day difference.
Well, again, congratulations to you and your guys. Congrats to Hunter on the MVP. That's a heck of an accomplishment. Looking forward to seeing what you guys do the rest of the year.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, fellas.
Hey, don't leave yet, Collins. We'll do this all together. I figure let's just do it all together. So for those that don't know, I got pushed around a little bit last weekend. I did a little pushing too. So I'll go ahead and play the video, and then I'll break it down, and I'll let you guys comment or ask questions. So that's me and Nick Bowden over here on the right. And this guy comes over, he gives me a shove too. And then everybody kind of collapses after that. So I'll break it down a little bit more. So the issue was, if you ever played against Nick, I'm cool with Nick. He doesn't bother me at all. He likes to get a little chirpy. So he was kind of yelling at my players at bats. The first batter, Dylan Lee, he said he's going to be in his ass all game, whatever that means. And then he was just kind of talking to everybody. After about an inning and a half, he was talking to Spilly. Spilly hits a double, flips his bat kind of towards where he was, because he's kind of standing here, right? And then when he gets to second, he's just screaming, "You're a loser! You're a loser! You're a loser!" And he gets to say it again. I said, "Nick, stop! Just quit!" And that's where the video starts. That's where he's coming at me. You kind of see me motioning. Hey man, you called him a loser 4 times. Why don't we cut the shit? And then he bellies up and he gets his hands on me, and that's where I kind of push him away. I don't know what his plan was. I don't know if he was trying to grab me, he was going to hit me, or what. I don't know. Didn't want to find out. But I want to get some space just in case that was his plan. And then, this guy's grab him. And then this other guy comes up. I don't know who he was. He had his fingers in my chest. I was playing like, hey, he was yelling at my guy. I have my hands up. He goes ahead and shoves me too. And then, my guys start coming over. Umpire finally walks out. And then Nick's still going. I finally tell Nick to shut the fuck up. And then he says, do something about it. And then at that point, I'm thinking, I guess I'm going to have to hit this dude. So I got my gloves on. I got my coat on. I'm trying to think. Well, I'm not gonna be able to get my coat off, but I can get my gloves off, so I'm gonna have to deal with that. And I'll just do my best. So I'm trying to find my spot, and then I think Greeny sees my eyes that I'm getting ready to go ahead and take it to the next level here, and he stops me and he says, "Zach, don't do it, don't do it." And then that's pretty much the end of it. So that's what happened. I didn't want to hit him, but if a guy pushes me and then tells me to do something about it, I think at that point, my options are limited. I'm glad it didn't happen. So, anyways, that's kind of what happened there. Any questions, comments?
No,
Uh,
I like
Go
the
ahead.
fired up Z Fly.
The truth of it was, I wasn't even mad. I was just trying to manage the situation. I've been mad before. This wasn't one of those times. I know Nick was just being Nick. I was surprised he took it as far as he took it, and that's kind of what happened.
So I don't know. I don't know the guy, but it seems like it's always the worst players or a guy that thinks he runs the team that always talk the most shit. I don't understand it.
I don't. I try to sit there and be quiet the best I can most of the time. I'm not always perfect, but I try to sit there and be quiet.
See, I can speak for me and Chase. We're the worst players on our team, and I talk so much shit. So,
gotta have fun with it. I also
Okay.
heard that.
Well, here's the thing though. With they always say, "Oh, it's nothing personal," but you sat there and called the guy a loser 4 straight times. That's pretty personal. I mean, it's not. Look, you called him a loser. It's not a big deal. But to say that, oh, it's not personal, but then to call the guy a loser, it's pretty personal.
I was watching another podcast, and apparently Old Bag and Sting in the Sea got into it too. And I heard there was some belly up there too. I guess it didn't go too far, and the next day they apologized, but Old Bag again.
So yeah, Nick's a little mouthy. If you talk to him off the field, he's a good dude. When he gets on the field, he kind of plays like a character. The way I describe it, where he's just talking. I mean, he does it to his own team too. It's not just the other team. So I never took it personally. I just thought like this time, Nick, you took it a little far. Let's stop. And then when I said that, he really kind of hit me. He took it off to the next level. No harm, no foul. Nothing really happened. So luckily, I'm still allowed to be at the softball park. Luckily, Greeny stopped it before it got any worse. So yeah. Anything else on that before we move on? Oh, good.
No.
All right. All right. Thanks, boys. Collins, you have a good evening, and congrats on the win.
I appreciate it. I did want to ask you one thing, Z-Fly, before I get off here. Your thoughts on One Nation C after basically Steve's ran through One Nation C. What do you think competition was superior to U-Trip?
No, but I think I said that before. Where is it superior to Cincinnati U-Trip? Absolutely. But is it superior to nationwide U-Trip? No, I don't think so. I think they're pretty close. Last year they had Van Wert that played C that ended up winning B World. I don't see any teams like that this year. But for the most part, I think it's pretty similar if you compare it nationally.
Yeah. That's my thought on it. I just thought it'll get you more prepared for a world tournament opposed to, like I said, playing the same 4 or 5 guys.
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right, fellas, you guys have a good night.
See ya.
Take it easy.
All right. Then we got the C winner with us, Mr. Chase Brown. Congrats on the win. Were you guys surprised? Were expecting to make it to Sunday? Were expecting to win?
Man, honestly, I told Jeb on the way home, I was expecting us to win a few games just because of the pure talent we had, but I wasn't really seeing us doing what we did. I mean, you guys see the roster, you know who we had. We had nothing but talent on that roster. Jeb and Rusty put it together, and they asked me, like, hey, do you want to do the Mojo? And it's my favorite tournament of the year. I love the Mojo. Don't know why, because as soon as I get up there, all I do is complain because I'm cold and I want to go home. But it's my favorite. And to actually turn around and win it with a group of guys that, a quote unquote pickup team was just unbelievable. And I thought that was more fun than anything.
So yeah, it's a good roster. Could this team play U-Trip-C? I mean, if you take out Rusty, with the rest of them.
Yeah, I believe so. I think Rusty's an A chip now, but I think that on that roster, I don't even know that Burris would be our only B chip on that roster.
Okay. Yeah, let's try and look through.
Yeah, Burris would be, yeah.
Yep. So, you have a good roster, and you guys had a good, you guys really enjoy playing with each other. I wasn't surprised you guys made it that far and won it, because you guys are having a great time. You're in the cold. You didn't seem to mind. You were there to win and play hard and enjoy each other, and that's what wins. I mean, that's really the secret to softball, is having the talent and then having a good time when you're there. And this guy's not worried about what this guy's doing. This guy's not worried about where this guy's batting. Is it my turn to play or whatever? If you have 12, 13 guys rowing together, that's how you win softball games, and that's what you guys had. So I wasn't shocked at all. I mean, you had a good outfield, you had good infield, and Lampy pitching. I mean, that's enough. Anyways, I'll start talking about the tournament. So what were some of the toughest games?
Days, man. They have a squad, and they all hit it. I mean, I would sit here and tell you that's probably the hardest hitting team I've ever seen. I've been, lucky enough to sit with, Matt Tucker, for example. Dude hits it as hard as anybody, but they had a whole team that was doing it. And we took home, and they put up a couple, and I think we goose-egged a couple innings. And then umpire called last inning, coming up. So we were able to finish the inning we were in, and then we had one more. And I believe we were up. They were up 6. We came in, bottom of the lineup, goosed. And then they came in, started hitting, and Braden doing Braden things, hits one like 450 feet. It was crazy. So finally get the third out. We come in, we're down 12. And Doug, being Doug, just being goofy, goes, well, guess it's time to just put them to rest. Let's win it. And I'm like, well, 12 runs is a lot. And we had, I think, 4 bombs left going in. And all of a sudden, everybody just turned it on. And Seek doing Seek things. He hit 903 this weekend as the hitter. And I think he only hit 1 home run before we got to Sunday. But he was taking walks, hitting backside, and everything. He took a walk. Hitchcock came up, hit a bomb. Kind of got the energy up a little bit. Bases loaded. Jeb, being a great teammate, man, he looked at Quinn Collins and goes, hey, you're going to hit for me. And Quinn comes up and hits a nuke just to, keep it going. And we turn it over. And then Seek, we needed a big hit out of Seek, man. And one of his outs, he hit into a fielder's choice. And I right there, I was like, man, I thought we were done, thought we were done. I was like, okay, well, we're good. We'll bounce back. We're coming tomorrow anyway, whatever. And then Riley Stidham comes in, hits it up the middle. And I'm like, oh gosh, we got a chance now. And Dylan Ebel came up, hit a home run, tied it. And then Doug walked it off for us. And I think what hurt Days, man, really and truly, is Braden was catching, and I think we scored 2 or 3 runs, and he called time. And there was no outs, went out there, talked to his pitcher very early in my eyes, very early. And I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. Well, Clay calls time again. And I wasn't going to say anything because I know if he goes out there, he's got to pull his pitcher, right? So I didn't say anything. I was going to let him go out there and then say something to the umpire. But somebody on our bench said something, so he didn't cross the line. He stopped dead in his track after he called time. And I was thinking, like, well, hold on, they're going to have to pull this guy. But Quay being smart, he pulled his right fielder and put Donnie White out there. And poor Donnie dropped a ball right after, and Rusty let him know about it, So that brought a lot of energy, and I think that's what helped us a lot is energy. And, like you said, nobody was complaining about the cold. Everybody wanted to be there. But I would say that was our hardest game in my eyes.
Who really stood out? I know you mentioned Seek with the over 900 average. Was there anybody else?
Seek with the 903. Burris led off, and I think he hit like 8 something. Stidham hit in the high 7s, low 8s, and same with Sam's. I think we had 80 dudes go hit 700. As a team, man, we hit 741 as a team, and I thought that was, that's ridiculous to hit 741 as a team because there's not a lot of outs right there hitting 740s.
Nope.
And then Malampy controlling the game, that's just a game changer in itself.
Yep. Did you have any I was going to ask you about lucky bounces, but it sounded like Donnie White got you one.
Yeah. We had a couple, lucky bounces here and there, but I think in the outfield with the wind, that plays into effect. It helped us once there, and then once on Championship Sunday, Dylan Ebel was able to get him a lucky one.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Championship Sunday, that last inning. I heard something about this. Why don't you go ahead and describe it?
So I guess we're going to talk about the rule.
Oh, I'm not aware of any rules. Yeah, please tell me everything.
So the whole new rule of you get one time after, the first pitch. After your first, you can call verbal or whatever. So Seek calls for his verbal, gets in the box. They, pitch him a couple pitches, and he says verbal. So they give him verbal, and pitcher throws a strike. So Seek turns to the umpire and calls time. And I knew that's supposed to be strike 3 because of the rule. But I went up to the umpire and I said, okay, in the rules it says he has to call time. I was like, did he call time? He said, no, he said verbal. I said, okay. And Hitchcock came up, and I thought he was going to pull a Susan, man. I thought he was going to sit on home plate. He's like, give me a director. So director comes, and I didn't go over the full story because I knew what had happened, and I didn't want to go over the full story. So I just asked the director, I said, does he have to call time or can he say verbal? And the director said, he has to call time. I said, okay, well, I looked at the umpire, said, did he say time or verbal? Umpire said verbal. I said, then play ball. And then Seek hit into a double play. And I was like, well, this didn't go in my favor, and that was one of his, 2 outs all weekend. And that was at a crucial part because we needed 2 runs to win. And I guess that's what you want to talk about is the whole walking scenario. So I don't even know how it happened, but we had 2 outs. Seek was on third. Rusty was on first. And they just walked Rusty. Bases were loaded. Bases were loaded. They just walked Rusty. Rusty's on first. Hitchcock gets up to bat and throws him 2 pitches, nowhere close to the strike zone. And then just points to first. And I'm like, what the? I've never
walked
seen
in a run
anything.
at that point?
He walked in a run.
Okay.
Which puts the winning run on second. So Lamp was up. Lamp had been struggling against this team. He got a couple hits here and there, but he'd been struggling. And they pitched to the veteran. The veteran walked it off. And that guy, I guess that coach was in the live feed that I was in yesterday watching, and they asked him about it, and he said that, Drew had been hitting the ball well all day, and Drew had lined out to the third baseman 3 times that game, but they were on ropes. So, Drew was going to get his eventually, just as Malampy was. And they decided that they were going to risk it and try to get Lamp to pop up or roll over to first. And luckily it fell into our favor, and Lamp walked it off.
Well, congratulations. So what did you guys win?
So the 4 all-tourney guys got a bat and a hat. Lamp got a hat, a pitching net, and a bat. And I think we got 7 other bats, a big trophy, and I think $3,000 is the
Nice.
check. So
will you guys be playing in any more events?
There's talk. We also got a World Berth paid for. So we've talked about that, and there's been some talk in the chat about playing a couple more, and can't name names, but there's a couple people that have reached out that have wanted to sponsor the primetime guys into playing a couple more. But, a lot of us are on Steve's, and, Steve's comes first. So if we're playing with Steve's that weekend, obviously that's our go-to. We're playing with them first, and got to keep everybody healthy. So I'm not trying to play every single weekend, but it would be nice to get in a couple more One Nation tournaments.
All right, I have one last question. I'll hand it over to Rhino. So when I was leaving on Saturday, there was a debate on who's going to be there Sunday. Remember what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Doug did not make it, but Drew got a hotel, and his lovely wife drove up on Sunday.
Okay.
So she came. I didn't have to take him home, but
Yeah, I wonder how that all happened.
Yeah, we plugged Dylan Evil into third, though, and he played lights out at third. And
So
Drew
when I
just
was
went to
watching
middle.
Saturday, there was 11 guys there. Doug doesn't come back Sunday. Did you guys gain a guy?
There should have been 11. There was 12 Saturday.
There was 12 Saturday night?
Yeah, there was 12 Saturday night, and then 11 on Sunday.
Okay.
And then you had me on the bench, but we didn't, ran out of home runs early on a couple of those games, so we couldn't put me in there,
Yeah, I understand. Rhino, all you.
So why didn't Doug show back up Sunday?
Doug has to work on Sundays, so
Wow.
I mean it's a known thing, and I guess you can confirm, but I guess it's been like that for quite a few years. He works on Sundays, so getting him to the ballpark on Sundays is just not going to happen.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't realize that Drew rode with him, so I didn't know how you guys got Drew home. So Drew rode up with Doug, knowing Doug had to leave early, and then he was kind of like, "What do I do?" I was like, "Well,
yeah,
Doug, Drew, you probably should have thought about that."
So how long did it take you guys to put this team together? Like, was this something that you guys talked about in December, or was this thrown together in a couple weeks, or how long did it take you guys?
Honestly, it was a couple weeks. Jeb and Rusty messaged me, man, and I think there was like 2 more C spots in the Mojo left, and that was it. So literally a couple weeks, and we're supposed to have Riley Mahan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Plays for Tiger, but he got hurt, and I thought we were going to be in trouble with roster, but just for injuries. But yeah, literally a couple weeks, man. And we played a round robin on Wednesday at West, and we're like, okay, let's do it. We're fine. We got swings in. We're good to go.
So congrats to Seek on a good weekend. Just it sounds like he makes his outs in the worst possible times, man. Is he not a clutch player or what? Come on, Seek.
Dude, it was crazy. It was crazy. He was on. I literally think he made 3 outs all weekend, and the 3 outs that he made, the poor guy, is when we needed him the most. But luckily, he had a squad behind him that stepped up for him. So
yeah, congrats on the win. You guys had a good team put together. I'm glad the money stayed local. So
yeah, like I said, since he runs Columbus, let old boy know.
there you go. There you go.
Sounds good.
I mean,
Thanks for
Rusty
coming on,
told
Chase.
everybody that you guys were going to win it. So
He did. He did. He called his shot, and he came through on his birthday too. On his birthday, so.
All right. Appreciate you, Chase. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you soon.
See you guys. Thanks.
See ya.
take it easy.
All right. You want to do top 5 now?
Yeah, top 5 favorite Reds players of all time.
Yep. Is it
Who
my
you
turn to
got?
go first, or is it yours?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. I'll do number 5, Eric Davis. I didn't get to see him play a bunch, but the guy was electric when he did play.
Number 5 for me is Rob Dibble. I just loved his attitude. Or if he didn't like you, he was going to hit you in the back. One play that stands out is the guy tried to bunt on him, and instead of throwing the ball to first base, he tried to hit him running down the line. You ever seen that play?
Yeah. I also saw it. I was like, Lou hit him, or he hit Lou, and then they had just retraded for a guy, and the guy was eyes were this big in the dugout watching it happen. Yeah,
Yep.
that was awesome. Number 4, Johnny Cueto.
Like Cueto a lot. 4 for me is Brandon Phillips. I just thought he was nasty defensively at second base, and he just had that swag about him.
Number 3, Barry Larkin.
I've got Barry at number 3 as well.
Yeah, just really steady. Hit for a good average, play a steady glove. Hall of Famer, obviously stud. Number 2 for me is Ellie De La Cruz. I love watching that guy play. He might not turn out to be anything, but man, if he can figure it out a little bit, the sky's the limit.
I do like Ellie a lot. He hasn't been there enough for me. Number 2 for me is Junior.
Junior?
If he didn't get hurt, I just can't imagine what would have happened.
I had like a 20 game pack in right field for about 3 or 4 years, so I saw a lot of Junior. Wasn't the same guy as he was in Seattle, unfortunately.
No.
Number 1 for me is Adam Dunn. He was the first player I kind of watched come up through the system. He had his warts, but he was consistent on what he did.
Yeah, I like Dunn. 1 for me is Votto. Just his whole approach, every at bat. I really enjoyed watching him go to work. And I know a lot of guys hate him because he didn't drive the ball to the ballpark and took walks and stuff like that. But to me, he was doing everything he could to help that team win.
Yeah, I really respect him as a player. I just didn't enjoy watching his game, but I respect everything he did. Absolutely a Hall of Famer, great Red. It just wasn't my favorite to watch. All right, so we got the Spring State, the winners in the rec, American Made. I think I've got their picture here. I don't know you guys, but congratulations. Nice win. Do you know any of these guys right now?
I don't know many of them guys. I know they made a decent run in the Bass for Cash and the E. I know they ran into the Kentucky team in the winners bracket. I want to say semifinals. Put up a decent showing, so congrats to those guys.
And then for the E, FOE Gapper Apparel. I think you told me this is the Suspects team?
Yeah. Yep. I think so. There looks like a lot of them.
Yep. So congratulations to them.
Who was the team that beat them? Do you know?
The team that they beat?
No. Who was in the finals against them?
Let me see if I can pull up
Funk?
the. So it looks like Funk, yeah.
Okay, Funk, Dirty Dogs. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
I think Dirty Dogs was your pick, right?
Yeah, I had Dirty Dogs.
I had I think I might have had Eights or Nasty Boys. I can't remember, but either way, they finished about the same. So, congrats to all. I wonder how much the home runs came into play because it's still ending me, as far as I know, right?
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to talk with Chuck to see how it went this past weekend.
So, congrats to all those teams. Anything else you want to cover today?
No, I mean, it's pretty slow weekend this weekend with Easter. I think Nikki's got something Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if anything else is going on this weekend.
Yeah, I think there was a fundraiser, a little bit of softball going on. I think some of my guys are playing at Kitten Lakes, but other than that, I don't think there's a ton going on for the holiday. And then the following week, we'll have something to preview next week.
Yeah, I got my my girls start the season Saturday. We drew an 8 a.m. game time.
Fast pitch
Fast pitch, yeah, up in Hamilton. We got to be there at 7, so it should be a whole lot of fun.
at Old Ford Field.
No, we're at Westside Little League.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully we're on these little fences and some of my girls can hit home runs, man.
Drop
It's
some
funny
bombs.
when it's funny when they get a hold of one. They think they're Adam done. They think they're gonna do it every time.
Nice. So somebody, Chris here said they hit 5 innings the first game.
So that's that Dirty Dogs team. So yeah, wow.
So yeah, that's the thing in E. Sometimes those guys that haven't played a long time, they don't know how to keep it in, and when they try to, it just makes it worse because they're cutting on it, trying to chop it down, and when they miss it, it goes straight up and out. Right.
That and being cold weather, man, it's ball flies.
Yep. So when we were up there in Columbus, we played that Florida team on that 360 field, and I played a 4-man to start, or we played a 4-man to start. And once they ran out of home runs, I brought it back to a 5-man, and they couldn't keep it in on the 360 field. They were still blowing it out.
So Red called me Saturday and said that the guy from Florida, said he just absolutely murdered it.
Yeah.
Said he hit it every bit of 500 feet about every time.
So when he played us, I don't think he got out many times, but I think he only hit 2 home runs, and he might only hit 1, but the one he hit, man, it went every bit of 500 feet, maybe a little bit more. He got all of it. Big dude. So even their 9-10 hitters couldn't keep it in on 360. So when they went 0-2 on Saturday, that didn't surprise me. Playing on the little fields, I'm sure they just couldn't keep it in.
Yeah.
We had bases loaded, bottom of 7th, hit 1 in the game, lost.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember that from the E days. Yeah.
It better not have been Kevin Murphy, Chris. We'll have to get all over him if it was Murphy.
All right. Anything else before we take off?
No, we'll get back at it next weekend and preview the Slugfest.
All right. Talk to you then. See you.
Take it easy.